Check. Just really wanted to do that. I know it wasn't necessary. Wasn't even expecting a microphone. This is pretty awesome. Just wanted to thank everybody for coming today to celebrate this long overdue celebration of life. Um, I think when people say celebration of life, that sometimes that's just a nicer way to say funeral or memorial service, but in this case, it truly is a celebration of life. It's what Sarah wanted, and so we worked pretty hard to do that, and I hope everybody's going to enjoy themselves. I don't have a lot to say, and as you can see, I'm going scriptless. So, just wanted to start by thanking everybody for being here. Thank everybody who worked so hard to make this day happen. Especially Ann and Darren, whose backyard we commandeered for the day. It's a buck to swim. Also, a big thank you to Emily and Chris, without whom we would be still putting that tent up, amongst many other things, and who arranged the spectacular spread from Likey and Gene. I could probably tell a lot of Sarah's stories. What I'm going to say are just a couple things. I think the first thing I wanted to say is that I think for the rest of my life, I will always have nothing but pride and respect for the way Sarah lived her life post-diagnosis. If you know anything about Sarah's life, you would know that she was a competitive synchro swimmer, now called artistic swimming, for many years, and she basically was the perfect team player in a sport that's pretty competitive. Her selflessness and her lack of ego served her well. But the bottom line was that she loved the sport, she loved being part of a team, and as much as she loved the sport didn't always love her back. And there was a few times when sort of the cruelty of competitive sports reared its ugly head, and she was confronted with some issues which the more hot-headed members of the family, like myself, her mom, her stepmom, her sisters, pretty much everybody but her. We were going to Synchro, Ontario with this damn thing, and she's like, just finding another home. And she's always able to find the joy in doing that, and new friends, new teammates, just continuing the love. So when she met with the worst scenario of her life, when she got her diagnosis, it did not surprise me that she would continue to live looking, not ignoring the bad times, but always looking forward to the good times and making the most of them. And she definitely did do that. So probably that makes me as proud as anything that she ever did. The last thing I want to say about her is I can't remember what the heck that was. The lesson of not having a script. I've only thought about this for 10.5 months, so give me a break. I remember one time that Sarah told me, very casually, as she was wont to do, that she was going to spend her time um, making sure that the people in her life knew how much she loved and appreciated. And in typical fashion, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a very lovely thing to say. On the last night that of Sarah's life, I went to the hospice, and it was one of those classic situations where I would have probably, if somebody had said, you don't have to stay, I probably would have left because it was very hard. Having said that, I would have never left because I knew it was where I had to be. And during that time, about halfway through the night, Emily pulled out Sarah's phone and she started reading messages. Some of them were text, some of them were audio messages, some of them were video messages, and from many of Sarah's friends, people that she had known at different points in her life. And they are all incredibly emotional and personal, and it was at that point that I realized there was a lot more to my daughter than I had even known. And I realized that her legacy was going to extend far beyond what I had known, the day before. And I just want to say that I think the reason that Sarah was loved so much is because she knew how to give love. And it harkened back to the time on the couch when she told me that. And so I try to do that now, follow her example. I know one person who loves that is my mom, because apparently up until the time I embraced that philosophy, I had inherited this something that only the Condie men have, where they cannot enunciate the word love. Anyway, I learned that from Sarah, and I just want to say, always find the positive. Don't be afraid to say you love somebody, and just remember Sarah. That's all I want to say. I don't even know who's next, so I won't pretend I do.
Deep breath in and deep breath out. I'm different than Paul. This is a little high, I think. I'm shorter than Paul. Thank you, Jerry. Okay, so I want to start today by telling a story that Emma Cork shared with me. And it was about a woman that had to go to the hospital to see her father. And when she was leaving the hospital, she tried to use her credit card to pay for the fees to get out of the parking lot. And it didn't work. So there was a woman behind her who offered to pay for it. And so the woman was grateful that this person was so nice and said, give me your card and I will, e-transfer you the money or email you the money or whatever. So off she went, and when she got home, she looked at the card and read it, and it said, pay it forward in memory of my son. So what I've done is I've created cards for everybody today to take some, and they look like this. They have a seaweed on them, of course, a seahorse. And Emma was wonderful at designing these for me. Thank you, Emma. And they're just over here by the display, so maybe I should read my speech now that tells me how to end this part of the story. Because, Paul, I don't know how you did it. It is kind of weird. Everybody's staring at you, so I'm not going to ask it anymore. So, Sarah was a big fan of paying it forward, and she would be full of gratitude for you to keep spreading it on her behalf. So please take some cards with you, okay? So this brings me to the word gratitude. What does gratitude really mean? So I Googled it all by myself. I didn't ask Emily for any help or Katie. And it says, gratitude is defined as feeling or showing an appreciation of kindness. This is what Sarah means to me. She was the kindest and most grateful person I know. I want to take the time to thank you all for coming here today to honor our Sarah and to remember her kind heart and her calm spirit. There's another person that I need to honor today, and that is Emily. Emily, I don't think you have any idea how much you have helped me over the last 5 years, and you still continue to be there for me today. Words cannot express how proud I am of you and how much I love you. And you were an amazing caregiver to Sarah. And Sarah told me many times how much she loved you for being her sister and her best friend, but wanted you to wake up earlier to help her in the bathroom. Both of us are truly blessed to have you. We've been really lucky because we also been blessed with a village of supporters. It is now time to talk about all of you. I was going to introduce Emily, but Paul took that part of my speech, so I will repeat again. But I want to thank Emily, our event planner, wherever she is. There she is behind the bar. Awesome, Emily, thank you. And Chris, for, of course, putting together this whole microphone electronics thing, which really, there's no way I could have dealt with this. I would have been yelling at you right now. And of course, our chef and her server, Jean. Isn't the food amazing? So kudos to her. Yeah, if I can only stop shaking, this would be a little easier. I'm gonna put the card down. I also like to thank the Kinsman family altogether. Katie for being our bartender. I'd like to thank Carrie for being our Walmart greeter. And I'd like to thank Guy Kelly for putting together the awesome slideshow. Now to my mom, thanks for being a second mom to my girls over the years. She's up there. That's where the royalty sits. Karen, Tony, that's my sister and my brother-in-law. They always have the family gatherings, and we always have lots of fun events, and fun food. Thanks so much. Michelle, thank you so much for being a surrogate big sister to Sarah and Emily. Especially when you lived with us, you helped me so much over the years. And Jamie, I don't know where you are, Jamie. There she is at the back. We will forever be connected because of Marley. Marley was born on Sarah's birthday. That's my great nephew. And they're 21 years apart, so we will always be connected that way. To all my friends, thanks for getting us this far. To Sarah's friends, thanks for transferring your love and friendship onto Emily and I. And to those who met Sarah through Gilda's Club, Pink Pearl, or Yak, thanks for helping her through some of her toughest times that I didn't know about. And finally, to my support group friends, thanks for helping me to find the balance between a mom, a grieving mom, and a caregiver all at the same time. Now, the last person I want to thank, she's a very important person, it's Sarah. During one of my grief support sessions, they asked us to write a letter to our loved one, and so I'm going to share that letter with you today. Dear Sarah, I could never ever thank you enough for being who you are. I was blessed with a daughter who was gentle, compassionate, and quite smart. I always said you had a wise old soul, and you carried that with you even after you were diagnosed. You are an example to many, and you touch the hearts of all those who knew you. Of course, these great printers that you use stick together the pages, right? Here, you can help me here. These are just a few gifts that you brought to me as you grew. I miss our long, thoughtful chats before bed and the way you could ground me by saying a simple sentence. I miss you giggling at my jokes, singing in the car, and joining me on giving Emma a hard time every chance you got. Gratitude can bring forgiveness as well. And just so you know, I have long forgiven you for the small mistakes that a child can make, or for the troubles a breastfeeding baby can bring. Even that teenager who always made me late should be forgiven. Because in the end, they don't really matter, do they? I hope you can forgive me in your heart as I've forgiven you. I know I made some bad decisions as your parent over the years, and especially in the end, as your caregiver. To be honest, I wish I had gotten you into hospice sooner, as you found such peace there, as I did too. And as you took your final breaths there, and they lit a candle for you in the window, we all said goodbye on the beautiful fall night. I would like to light a candle today to remember this, and to all those who lit one too. I'm going to ask the grandmothers up on the royalty stage to stand up and light a candle in Sarah's honor. And then you have to tell me when it's lit. We can't see. It's done. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nanny and Grandma. So Sarah, I know that you know how much I miss you. I am happy that you come to see me by appearing in my dreams, sending a breeze across my shoulders, or touching my hand with your energy. I promise you today that if anyone experiences the same, they will know that it's you dropping by for a visit, and you're there to show them how much they mean to you. Sarah, thanks so very much for being you, and for making me a mom. Goodbye, Siwa. I love you. Grandpa, prepare. Please take good care of her. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I feel so honored to be up here and celebrating the life of a truly incredible woman with you all. This is a day with so many emotions as we remember, celebrate, and honor Sarah. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Brianna, and I'm incredibly lucky to call Sarah my best friend. Sarah and I met in grade 4 at Canadian Martyrs Catholic School, and little did I know what would ensue all of these years later. The new girl who just moved to Newmarket would end up being my best friend and someone who I will look up to for the rest of my life. She has always embodied a sense of calmness and compassion that would impact anyone she met. Reflecting back on that first impression nearly 17 years later, I can confidently say that Sarah's beauty is not only physical, but is a deep spiritual beauty that captivates anyone she encounters. Sarah's love of adventure never made for a dull moment. We had some incredible memories together, whether we were dog sledding, going to puppy yoga, going to concert, or for a quick walk around the city. She always knew about the coolest events, and you knew that if Sarah was making the plans, it was going to be a good time. Not only was she good at making plans, but she was so open-minded and willing to do anything. Her passion for listening and learning could make anyone feel special, as she would show a genuine interest in the hobbies and dreams of others. I remember when Sarah came to visit me in Ottawa, and we looked at my new address in Toronto to find out it was only 10 minutes from her and Emily. The next 2 years would be filled with impromptu visits, surprise Starbucks deliveries, and the ability for either of us to be there for each other almost immediately. Even though her time here was not long enough, it was well lived, as she got to experience so much and made every moment count. There's something to be said for Sarah's work ethic and maturity. Sarah has always been studious and dedicated to her work. Her maturity spoke volumes. When as young as high school, Sarah would always be the voice of reason. She was committed to succeeding, but was always ready for a good time. Throughout her degree, she showed consistent diligence by studying when she needed to, and even if she would say it was procrastination, I would call it balance, something that Sarah made look effortless. Her swimming career is no exception to her dedication, as she excelled as a synchronized swimmer and had a long-standing career from elementary to being on the university synchronized swimming team at 12. While balancing life, school, and swimming, her only complaint was walking in the cold with wet hair. The day that we found out about Sarah's diagnosis was one that I will never forget. I will never forget the flood of emotion as I was on my way home from Ottawa and I received the worst text that anyone could receive. The next 4 years would be filled with so much difficulty and disappointment, but also with so much love and intention. While I knew how incredible of a person Sarah was, throughout her cancer journey, her character was so incredibly obvious as she fought for her life with such class and strength. In September of last year, after we learned about her shortening prognosis, Sarah called me in the middle of the night because she needed to vent. As I listened to her and tried to be strong, she paused and told me that she wanted to hear what I had to say and that I don't have to hold back. Sarah has always been one to promote self-care and protecting your well-being, and never to diminish our own experiences based on what someone else is going through. Her empathy has impacted me so profoundly and is what inspires me in all of my relationships today. When I think of what a best friend is supposed to be, I can confidently say that Sarah embodies absolutely every good quality that we all search for. As we navigated through the different stages of life together, I recall her as a constant supporter and encourager who was always seeing the best in others. She was constantly ready to support any of us in whatever state, and somehow she always knew what to say. With her attention to detail and ability to pay close attention to strengths and weaknesses, I could always rely on her to check in at times that I didn't even know I needed it, and I can only hope that I did the same for her. There are no words to describe the pain that has followed after her passing, but based on the crowd here, and I'm sure the others who would be here if they could, Sarah will continue to live on through each of us and the impact that she has made in each of our lives. Emily said it best when she said that the world simply could not contain Sarah's spirit. She is a one-of-a-kind soul, and I feel so lucky to call her a best friend.
I'm just going to get my mouth and not Sorry, Noah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey everyone, I'm Noah, one of the many cousins of Sarah. So when I think about Sarah, I just can't help but reminisce about all of the fun times that we had together. The first ones that come to mind would be when, so Sarah and Emily are the older cousins on the Condie side anyway, so they might have been a bit older, but people like me, Mark, Hannah, Olivia, and Elliot, we were a bit too young to start drinking wine and all that stuff. So what we would do back in the day would, instead of drinking like we do today and other stuff, we would buy so many different chips, just like drink Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper until like 3 in the morning and watch like 3 or 4 movies gunning from 7 p.m. until 3, 4 in the morning. And those are times that I will never forget when I was young at the cottage. And Nanny, I'm sorry to have kept you awake until 3 in the morning. We're all sorry, but so thankful for you. So, and yeah, I just can't help but think about those times when I was younger. Now, obviously, the natural progression, the older we became, the more alcohol was involved, and the cousins chilling together. Now, for me personally, I remember me going to Paul and Michelle's house, spent some time with Sarah and Emily. It would bring me to like Jays games, bring me to restaurants, and it was just the most fun time. And I think for all of us, the cousins, when we're together, it's almost like therapy. Like all your problems go away, and you can just be completely yourself. And it was like that when I was with Sarah. She was always such a straight shooter. I could ask her anything. She would give me sage advice. Sarah and Emily taught me how to drink properly too, not drink too much. You know, drink just enough to have a good time, but not too much so that you're a fool the night the day after. And even though I probably didn't listen the first couple of times, you learn with experience. You know, so that's why they're there. Exactly. And yeah, I mean, I just think about all the fun times back at the cottage. I wasn't there for that, but I know like the canoe flip one time, you know, and you know, you and Sarah were in the lake and whatever. Yeah, or just floating in the lake and talking about whatever. You know, it was just the best times that we would have together. Sarah was also because she was the oldest, right? She was the mother of the group. So like, while you know all of us were completely plastered, she'd be busy like making us a bed or whatever, you know, or waking up the next morning making us breakfast. You know, she was just such a caring person in general. And yeah. Another thing that comes to mind is every time I was with Sarah, she would always talk about what her friends were up to. And I know she wasn't the type of person that had a lot of friends. She had good friends that she was close with, right? And I think that's what's important. It's not the amount, it's who you're, you know, just the good people that are around you. So I want all her friends that are here to know that she loved them so much and that she admired who they were as people and what they were becoming. So yeah, I just want everyone to know here that all her friends and hear that she loved all of you so much, and you all seem like good people, and she was surrounded by amazing people. I think for Sarah, it was all about friends and family. You know, so I think ultimately that's what it all comes down to in the end. It's who's around you. And I think the things that are the most important and that were important for her were friends and family. So it's fitting today that we're all reunited, her family and her friends together, celebrating this life, and celebrating that heritage that she's left us. She was such a fighter, she was kind, and she was a straight shooter. And I think those are three things that everyone can live by. She's an example for all of us. So thank you all for being here. Sarah, I love you so much. And yeah, enjoy everybody. Thank you.
Apologize in advance, everyone might make me cry. Alright, so I also am not winning it. And also, if I look at any of you, I will cry. So, I'm just gonna stand the paper. From the second I entered this world, I've been a little sister. In fact, for a lot of my life, that's how people have known me. Not as Emily, but as Sarah Condie's little sister. I used to hate it, but now it's a title I wear proudly. It's as much a part of me as my own name. Being Sarah Condie's little sister is part of my identity. Sarah was the best big sister, even if she did try to slingshot me out of my jelly jumper once. As a kid, I wanted to be just like her. As an adult, I hope I can be the intense person she loves. As far as sisters go, we were lucky to have a relationship transform as we got older. Over time, Sarah became more than just my sister. You guys can hear her. She was my roommate, my best friend, my person. We used to tell people we eventually became the same person because we had the same taste, liked the same music, had the same friends. I'm forever grateful for those friends who welcomed Sarah with open arms and for the friendships I've gained because of her. She was an incredible friend and the most selfless soul. Proud of everyone, she was the first to celebrate the success of those around her and always showed up whenever you needed her as a friend, a supporter, an advocate, and even a hair model. All of my best memories involved her, with a lot of laughter and the occasional tears. One of our many shared passions was music, and Together, we saw so many concerts that we finally just decided it was our hobby. Despite being cut short, Sarah's life was so full and had one hell of a soundtrack. We made travel playlists, had a standing Sunday record night, and picked tons of karaoke songs we had no plans of ever singing. We traveled to Ireland, New York, and the West Caribbean, became basketball fans, celebrated birthdays, visited a dog museum, a Harry Potter bar, rooftop restaurants, and art galleries. We made memories in our apartment, hosting cousins' weekends, Christmas parties, movie nights, and the occasional hungover brunch. No matter what, Sarah was always up for anything, or planning our next adventure herself. She lived a life I'm proud of, and grateful and honored to have been there for it all, from concerts to chemo. As a kid, I was sick a lot, but I remember this one time when I was about 10, I had to go to the hospital, and while I was there, all I wanted was to see Sarah. I felt so much better when she came. She was there for me, then and always, showing up every time I needed her. Sarah saw me at my worst and never once judged me. Through her cancer journey, I wanted her to feel that same kind of love, to feel it infinitely in the shittiest moments, and to know I had her back always. That I loved her so much, every bit as much as she loved me. When we found out she was palliative, Sarah and I made a point to say I love you every night before bed. Even though I always knew it, to hear it meant so much to me then, it means even more to me now. These last 10 months, I found so much comfort knowing that all of you could see how amazing she was too. Hearing the impact she had as a sister, daughter, cousin, niece, granddaughter, and friend has been a true gift, so thank you for sharing your pieces of her with me. I believe that through us all, Sarah gets to live forever. In our memories, our stories, and prayers, in your laughter from a joke that she would have loved, and the tears shed from missing her. Sarah lives on in us because she is a survivor. She would want us to not just be amazed by her strength, but to see that strength in ourselves and value it in each other. Sarah would want us to treat ourselves with compassion and kindness, and to know that we can handle much more than we think. To love ourselves like she loved us, deeply and unapologetically. Honor her by not sweating the small stuff, being brave enough to ask for what you need, and doing what feels good. I asked Sarah once if there was anything she wanted to have included in her celebration of life, and she asked that I share this all with you. So we painted up some shots, and you can all raise your shot and glass in a toast with me. And actually, can someone get me a shot?
No.
Sorry, I was gonna. Thank you. It's tequila, because, Sarah likes to party. Alright, so, you raise your glass. No matter what you accomplish, you will be truly successful if every person you encounter feels truly valued in your presence. And those are Sarah's words, and I hope that resonates with all of you. To Sarah, with love.
Sarah with love.
Thank you so much for being here with us today to celebrate Sarah, her incredible life, and to help her legacy live on. On behalf of my family, we appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for being part of Sarah's life. We are grateful for the family and friends who came through her. Please enjoy the food and drinks, and if you haven't remembered to sign our contact tracing sheet, please do. We have a guest. Oh, no, actually, no. Sorry. We'll be accepting video messages as well up until the 25th. So if anyone has a message that they want to send for Sarah, we're compiling a digital guest book that'll be a website that I'll share with all of you, and all of our speeches from today will also be part of that. So please send us your memories, photos, pictures. If you would prefer to just send text, that's fine as well. I'll make it work. So thank you so much for being here today.